Hello and welcome back to the Smash Archive, the series where we look at every game franchise represented in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. For this episode, we'll be looking at two series that started out on the GameCube, which would go on to explode in popularity on some of Nintendo's more recent consoles. Those series being Animal Crossing and Pikmin. Now for this video, we'll first be going through the 5 mainline Animal Crossing games, along with the spin-off game, Happy Home Designer, followed by the first 3 mainline Pikmin games and the spin-off, Hey Pikmin. Also, just as a quick side note, if you're wondering why I'm not talking about Pikmin 4, despite it having gone represented as part of the Spirit Board event for Ultimate's 5th anniversary, I'm saving that, along with all the other games that have gotten representation, for a separate bonus video that will release sometime in the future. With that out of the way, let's get started with Animal Crossing. Releasing in Japan as a Nintendo 64 title, Dobutsu no Mori, or in English, Animal Forest, was originally meant to be a multiplayer role-playing game for the Nintendo 64 disk drive, a Japan-exclusive add-on for the N64 for playing disc-based games, with the project being led by a mix of Katsuya Iguchi, a director and level designer for titles such as Super Mario Bros. 3 and Star Fox, Hisashi Nagami, a character designer who had previously worked on Yoshi's Island and Super Mario 64, and Takashi Tezuka, who was heavily involved in the creation of both Super Mario Bros. And The Legend of Zelda. Later on in development, due to the delays and waning popularity of the 64DD, the game later shifted to being a regular N64 title, with the decrease in memory available on the cartridge leading to the team scrapping most of the RPG aspects, with it later evolving into a life simulator where you live in a village populated with anthropomorphic animals which you can talk and interact with. The game ending up as not just the only N64 title with a real-time clock, but also the system's final first-party title, releasing in April of 2001. 8 months later, an expanded version of the game would release for the GameCube titled Animal Forest Plus, with this version being the one which would be localized internationally as Animal Crossing. And in fact, Nintendo's Japanese leadership were so impressed by the dedication shown by the localization team, who added new items and holidays that were more understandable to Western audiences, they actually made another version of the game for Japan in order to integrate all the new content from the international release, this version being titled Animal Forest E+. Overall, the original Animal Crossing proved to be a commercial success, mainly thanks to its more laid-back nature helping the game be more appealing to casual audiences, with the combined sales of the 3 different GameCube releases being 2.71 million copies, making it the console's 7th best-selling title. As a lot of Animal Crossing's identity was well established in the first game, along with it technically having content to pull from 4 different versions, there's a lot of stuff from this game. First, we have fighter number 45, Villager, these being the human villagers which serve as the series' player characters, with the generic name coming from how the player gets to name them. The villagers' design is primarily based on their look in Wild World and City Folk, with their alternate costumes being split between 4 male designs and 4 female designs, each having a different face and clothing set from the games. Next is 8 music tracks, with a new remix of the title screen music, a Brawl remix of Go KK Rider, a song performed by KK Slider, which is styled after the theme of tokusatsu shows like Kamen Rider. KK Cruisin', a song inspired by a mix of acid jazz and G-funk. KK Western, a song based on Western country music. KK Gumbo, which takes inspiration from New Orleans jazz. Rockin' KK, which is themed to 50s rock and roll. DJ KK, which is based on a mix of Eurobeat and Eurodance songs. And KK Condor, a song inspired by South American music, particularly Andean folk music. Then we have two items, with beehives, an object which can fall from trees after shaking them, which will cause a swarm of bees to chase the player until they either go inside, catch the bees with their nest, or get stung. In Smash, the bee swarm will constantly attack either the player who attacked the hive, or if the hive was thrown, the player that was hit with it, or was the closest to the hive when it landed. And Pitfall, a seed which, if stepped on, will cause the villager who walked on it to get temporarily stuck in the ground. In Smash, it can either be thrown at the enemy or become a trap when thrown on the ground, with it burying grounded opponents on solid surfaces or spiking them downwards if they touch the trap on a fall-through platform, or if the pitfall is thrown at them whilst they're in the air. In addition, there's the assist trophy, Cappin, a capper who appears throughout the series by providing some method of transport, in the original game being able to take players on a ferry to Animal Island. His appearance in Smash is based on his role in City Folk, where he drives the bus which takes villagers to the city, with him driving around the stage in his bus, which will trap fighters he comes into contact with before trying to take them off screen. After that, we have a Me Gunner costume based on KK Slider, a dog musician who players can hear performances from on Saturday nights, with the gun being KK's guitar. To end off, there's possess 22 spirits. Number 825, Villager Boy, a fighter spirit. The spirit art is taken from City Folk, specifically depicting what is sometimes referred to as the 112 male villager, based on the answers which are given at the start of the game to determine the villager's starting design, with this being the look which serves as the basis for the default male villager's look in Smash. Number 826, Villager Girl, a fighter spirit. The spirit art for this one is also taken from City Folk, with this being the 122 female villager, which is the design that was used for the default female villager in Smash. Number 828, Tom Nook, a 3-slot advanced primary neutral spirit which can be enhanced at level 99. A raccoon, or tanuki in the Japanese and Korean versions of the game, who runs the town shop along with being the person who sells the player their house at the start of the game. The artwork is from City Folk, specifically being Nook's appearance when he's running the most basic version of his shop, Nook's Cranny. Number 829, Tom Nook Nookingtons, a 3-slot ace primary neutral spirit with the effect Item Gravitation. This being Tom Nook's appearance when his store has been fully upgraded to its final form, Nookingtons, which requires the player buy or sell 240,000 bells worth of items and have another player from another town visit the store at least once. Like regular Tom Nook, the art is taken from City Folk, which instead requires you buy or sell 150,000 bells worth of items from the store's previous rendition, Nookway. Number 830, Timmy and Tommy, a master spirit which runs the shop, Timmy and Tommy's, a pair of raccoon twin brothers who work as Tom Nook's apprentices, in the original game working on the second floor of Nookingtons. The spirit artwork is from New Leaf, where they've taken Tom Nook's original role of running the town shop, specifically depicting their appearance when running Nookling Junction. Number 832, KK Slider, a 3-slot ace primary neutral spirit with the effect Running Start. In addition to his role of performing songs on Saturday night outside the train station, he's also the first villager a player will see as he talks to them as soon as they get past the title screen. His art is taken from New Leaf, where he performs at Club LOL, which becomes available once the player has reached a 100% approval rating and upgraded the town store to TNT Mart. Number 833, Rossetti, a 2-slot ace primary grab spirit with the effect Jump Down, a mole who will appear outside the player's house and angrily scold them if they forget to save their game before leaving, with him also making a special appearance on Groundhog Day. The artwork is taken from City Folk, which added the ability to actually visit Rossetti's surveillance center, which will open on random days in the city after 8 PM. Number 834, Don, a 2-slot advanced primary shield spirit with the effect Speed Down. Rossetti's older, calmer brother who will sometimes appear in place of him in rare occasions. The spirit art is from City Folk, where he fulfills the same purpose, with him also sometimes appearing in the Rossetti Surveillance Center. Number 835, Rover, a 2-slot ace support spirit with the effect Ice Floor Immunity. A cat who the player ends up talking to on the train ride to their town, but the conversation with Rover helping the game set up the in-game clock, the player's name and gender, as well as the name of the town, but the answers the player chooses to some of Rover's questions determining how they look at the start of the game, with the artwork being based on his appearance in New Leaf. Number 836, Red, a 1-slot advanced support spirit with the effect Trade-off Defense Up, a fox who appears once a month in town running his own shop, Crazy Red's Furniture Emporium, which sells furniture for a higher price than Tom Nook, though some of the items are exclusive to his store, including artwork which can be donated to the museum. His spirit art is from New Leaf, where he instead has a random chance of appearing once a week on any day except Sunday, with him now only selling art. However, the player has to carefully inspect them to make sure they're not forgeries. Number 837, Gracie, a 1-slot advanced support spirit which lets you start the battle with a super launch star. A giraffe fashion designer who has the chance to appear in a player's town every 2 to 7 days, with her rewarding the player with clothing items for washing her car, giving exclusive Gracie brand clothing items if they're fast enough. Her spirit artwork is from New Leaf, where she has a chance of appearing at the event plaza on a weekday after Timmy and Tommy's store has been upgraded to TIY and the player has spent 70,000 bells, with it being required to pass her fashion check 4 times in order to upgrade TIY to TNT Emporium, with Gracie running her store Gracie Grace on the shop's 3rd floor. Number 838, Gulliver, a 1-slot advanced primary grab spirit with the effect Jump Up. A seagull who will wash ashore on the town's beach once a week on a random weekday. If the player wakes him up, he'll tell them an over-the-top story from his adventures on the sea before giving them a furniture item based on a real-world object or monument. The artwork is taken from New Leaf, where based on clues Gulliver provides, the player has to figure out which country he was trying to get to before washing ashore, with him then mailing a furniture item based on the country he was going to the next day if they pick the right answer. Number 839, Pete, a 2-slot ace support spirit with the effect Strong Wind Immunity. A pelican who works as a mailman throughout the series, with it being possible to run into him delivering letters at 9 AM and 5 PM. The art is taken from his appearance in New Leaf, where they also deliver some of the game's DLC items. Number 840, Phyllis and Pelly, a 1-slot advanced support spirit which lets you start the battle with a back shield. A pair of pelican sisters who work at the post office which lets you send letters to other villages in your town, with Phyllis working the night shift from 7 PM to 7 AM, whilst Pelly runs the day shift from 7 AM to 7 PM. Their artwork coming from their appearance in New Leaf. Number 841, Copper and Booker, a master spirit which runs the brick wall style dojo, which increases damage resistance whilst decreasing standard attacks, aerials, specials, throws, and pummels. A pair of dogs who work at the town's police station, Copper standing outside and informing the player about current or upcoming events, whilst Booker runs the lost and found within the station. The spirit artwork is from City Folk, where they work at the checkpoint, which serves the same purpose as the police station, as well as the train station, which was used for visiting other players' towns. Number 842, Joan, a 1-slot advanced support spirit with the effect Stats Up after eating. A boar who will appear in town on Sunday mornings to sell turnips, which the player can then sell to Tom Nook, with the sale price fluctuating throughout the week. The art coming from their appearance in New Leaf. Number 843, Katrina, a 2-slot advanced support spirit with the effect Irreversible Controls. A fortune-telling panther who has the chance to appear during the week, with her offering to give the player a fortune reading for 50 bells, which will have the chance of giving the player a random positive or negative side effect for the rest of the day. The artwork comes from New Leaf, where after having your fortune read 20 times, you're given the option to build a permanent fortune shop on Main Street in order to have your fortune told every day instead of whenever the game decides that Katrina will show up. Number 844, Lloyd, a 2-slot novice primary shield spirit with the effect Speed Down. A gyroid which sits outside the player's house, with it being used to save the game, store items, change the design of the house's door, or set a message for people visiting from another town. The spirit art is from City Folk, where he instead appears at the auction house, allowing the player to bid on items or put up items for bidding. Number 845, Tortimer, a 2-slot ace support spirit with the effect critical health stats double up. A tortoise who works as the town's mayor, greeting the player at the wishing well during their part-time job for Tom Nook, along with giving them exclusive items during most of the game's special events. His spirit art is taken from New Leaf, where he's now retired to a private resort home on Tortimer Island, with him running the various tours that the island offers. Number 846, Capin, a 1-slot ace support spirit with the the effect easier dodging. The artwork is taken from New Leaf, where he runs the motorboat that takes players to Tortimer Island, with his family working in the island's lobby. Number 848, Able Sisters. A 1-slot ace support spirit with the effect shield durability up. A trio of hedgehog sisters who run the series' various clothing stores, with Mabel and Sable having been around since the first game, running the shop Able Sisters, where players can design and buy clothing items, whilst the third sister, Label, wasn't introduced until City Folk, where she's the clerk for the high-end fashion store Gracie Grace. The trio's art comes from New Leaf, where they've since reunited and run Able Sisters together, Mabel and Sable working in the clothing section, whilst Label works in the accessories section. And number 849, Blathers, a 2-slot ace support spirit which lets you start the battle with a black hole. An owl who works as the curator for the museum, where the player can donate items to the museum's exhibits dedicated to bugs, fish, fossils, and art, with the spirit artwork originating from New Leaf, where on top of this role, he'll also be the person to suggest public projects for both a second floor to the museum and a cafe called The Roost. Switching over to handhelds, we have 2005's Animal Crossing Wild World for the Nintendo DS, which added various new locations such as Town Hall and the Observatory, the ability to use the DS's touchscreen for things like item management and designing patterns, as well as being the first entry in the series to feature online play, making it easier to visit other players' towns compared to the first game. Wild World would similarly receive an overwhelmingly positive reception, with it eventually becoming the 9th best-selling DS game at 11.75 million copies sold. Since this was the most recent game at the time of Brawl's release, which was the first Smash game to heavily feature the Animal Crossing series, there's a decent amount of content from Wild World. To start, we have the stage Smashville, which takes place on a floating platform above an Animal Crossing village, with the stage's aesthetics being based on Wild World, along with the time of day changing depending on the system's internal clock. The only events on the stage are a floating platform that travels from one side of the stage to the other, and items carried by red balloons occasionally appearing overhead, with fighters being able to pop the balloons to grab the item, similar to the balloon presents that appear throughout the series. Within the town, it's possible to see villagers' houses, the Able Sisters shop, the museum, and Town Hall, with Capin's taxi driving around the town, along with it being possible to see Gulliver's UFO and Pete flying in the sky. Finally, the stage features various villagers watching the fight on the main platform, with some of them occasionally drinking coffee at the Roost. And between 8 PM and midnight on a Saturday, KK Slider will appear to perform music on the stage, matching when he appears to perform in the games. After that, we have 6 music tracks, with 2 versions of the title theme, with a Brawl remix, which also includes the museum theme, "3 PM", the Loan Paid Off jingle, "6 AM", the Nook's Cranny theme, and the Town Hall theme, along with a new remix which incorporates the music that plays at 3 p.m. and 2 a.m. A Brawl remix of the 2 a.m. theme, a Brawl remix which contains the Town Hall theme, and the theme for Tom Nook's store, a Brawl remix of the Roost's theme, and a Smash 4 remix which contains the City Plaza theme from Animal Crossing City Folk, Wild World's title theme, and the 2 a.m. theme. Finally, there's 7 spirits. Number 847, Cap'n Wild World, a 1-slot advanced support spirit with the effect Dash Attack Up. In Wild World, Cap'n is a taxi driver who takes the player to their town, effectively taking the same role Rover did in the original Animal Crossing as the character the player talks to choose their gender, name, and town name. Number 850, Celeste. a 1-slot advanced support spirit with the effect Item Gravitation. Bladder's younger sister who works alongside him in the museum, with players being able to find her in the observatory where she can help you create, delete, or view star constellations. The spirit art is taken from New Leaf, where she instead runs the museum's gift shop and allows the player to open up exhibition rooms on the second floor. Number 851, Harriet. A 1-slot advanced support spirit with the effect Weapon Attack Up. A poodle who works as a hairdresser for the store Shampoodle, which is found within Nookingtons, with her giving the player a new haircut based on a series of questions. Her artwork is from New Leaf, where her store can be found above Able Sisters after 10 days have passed since Kicks opened, and the player has spent 10,000 bells at either store, with her also being able to give villagers masks based on Mii's or contacts to change a villager's eye color. Number 852, Brewster. A 1-slot ace support spirit with the effect Slumber Immunity. A pigeon who runs a cafe called The Roost, where the player can buy coffee and on Saturday nights listen to KK Slider, with Brewster becoming more open to conversation as the player frequents his business. The art is taken from New Leaf, where he allows the player to choose what kind of beans and the amount of milk and sugar they want, and after enough visits, allows you to work at the cafe part-time in exchange for rarer beans and furniture. Number 853, Lyle. A 1-slot novice support spirit which lets you start the battle with a green shell. An otter who will sell the player insurance for when they trip, get stung by bees, who buy a forged painting, along with allowing them to choose when Crazy Red shows up in town. The spirit art is from New Leaf, where he runs the Happy Home Academy, which will evaluate how good a player's house is and give them special prizes when they hit a certain threshold. Number 854, Caitlin and Katie. A 2-slot advanced support spirit with the effect Fog Immunity. A mother-daughter cat duo who can randomly appear when 2 players visit each other's towns, with Caitlin appearing in one town whilst Katie appears in another, with the player who had Katie appear in their town being rewarded with an item if they're able to reunite the pair. The spirit art is taken from City Folk, where they fulfilled the same role. And number 855, Dr. Shrunk. A 1-slot advanced support spirit with the effect Falling Immunity. An axolotl who works as a comedian who will randomly visit the town on a weekday, where the player can learn an emotion from him based on a joke he tells. The artwork is from New Leaf, where he now runs his own club named Club LOL. Moving over to the Wii, we have 2008's Animal Crossing City Folk, or Animal Crossing Let's Go to the City in Power Regions. As the title suggests, the main new addition for this game is the ability to travel to the city, which features several new stores that can't be found within the main town. Though outside of that and a few other minor changes, the game is effectively just a home console port of Wild World, so much so that the game even gives you the option to port over your Wild World town at the start. Due to the lack of changes when compared to previous titles, City Folk got a bit more flack when compared to previous titles, but they're also seeing a noticeable drop in sales compared to Wild World at 4.32 million copies, though this does still make it the 21st best-selling Wii game. As this is one of the less discussed Animal Crossing titles, there's not much from City Folk. To begin, we have the stage Town and City, which structurally is very similar to the previously discussed Smashville, being a flat stage with floating platforms set above a town with various villager characters being seen in the background, with some occasionally sitting at the roost. The town in the background includes various major locations, namely several villager houses, Nook's Cranny, Able Sisters, the museum, town hall, and the town gate, which has a fountain in front of it. The main difference from Smashville is that after a set amount of time passes, the flowing platforms will change, along with the background shifting over to the city you can visit in the game via the bus stop, with it being possible to see the auction house, Gracie Grace, the Happy Room Academy, the Marquee, and Shampoodle. Finally, just like Smashville, the time of day on the stage changes depending on the system's internal clock, with KK Slider performances occurring on Saturday nights between 8 PM and midnight. In addition, there's 4 spirits. Number 856, Frillard, a 1-slot novice support spirit with the effect Breaking ability up. A lizard who worked as Dr. Shrunk's teacher. He appears in the Marquee on rare occasions where he can teach the player 6 emotes that Dr. Shrunk doesn't know. Number 857, Kix, a 2-slot advanced support spirit with the effect Sticky Floor Immunity. A skunk who works in the city as a shoe shiner, allowing the player to change the colour of their shoes based on either the colour or style of their current outfit. The spirit artwork is taken from New Leaf, where he now runs a shoe shop in Main Street, which will open once the player has been living in town for 10 days and spent 8,000 bells at the Able Sisters. Number 858, Zipper T Bunny, a 1-slot novice primary grab spirit with the effect Jump Up. A rabbit that hosts Bunny Day, Animal Crossing's equivalent to Easter, effectively being the series' counterpart to the Easter Bunny, with it also being implied by dialogue and the zipper on the back of his head that he's actually someone in a bunny suit. The artwork is taken from New Leaf, where he fulfilled the same role. And number 859, Serena, a 1-slot novice support spirit which lets you start the battle with a star rod. A chihuahua goddess who will appear when a villager throws an axe into the town fountain, with her randomly either returning the axe, swap it for a gold or silver axe, or keep the axe and give the player nothing. The whole scenario being a reference to the Aesop fable, The Honest Woodcutter. Shifting back to handhelds, we now have Animal Crossing New Leaf, which released for the 3DS in 2012 in Japan and 2013 internationally. New Leaf features the most radical change in the series, by making the player the town's mayor, allowing you to set up projects to build new environmental objects within the town, and put in town ordinances which can affect things such as when stores open and close, to the value of items being bought and sold, along with a few smaller additions such as the resort tours on Tortimer Island and the ability to swim in the ocean with a diving suit. Thanks to these changes, New Leaf would end up becoming one of the most popular titles in the series, managing to sell 13.05 million copies, becoming the 6th best-selling 3DS game, with it later receiving an expansion as part of a free update titled Animal Crossing New Leaf Welcome Amiibo, which mainly added Amiibo support for inviting new villagers in a campervan park. As this was the most recent mainline game at the time of both Smash 4 and Ultimate's release, along with it often being viewed as the fan favourite entry, there's a good amount of content from New Leaf. First, we have fighter number 68, Isabelle, a dog who serves as the player's secretary, helping set things in place for the player to be the new mayor, along with signing off on new town ordinances and making preparations for town projects, with her role in New Leaf leading her to become one of the most popular special villages in the series. Next is the stage Tortimer Island, a desert island which runs various tours hosted by the town's previous mayor, Tortimer, which the player gets access to after paying off their first home loan, with the stage specifically taking place on the island that the lobby is found on. The stage's layout is randomly generated at the start of the match, with the island being able to house some trees and a body of water. On top of being able to stand on the trees, they can also grow the various fruits that can be found throughout the series, which can be knocked off to be used as healing items, with the exceptions of coconuts and durians, which are instead used as throwing weapons, along with it also being possible for the beehive item to appear on the trees as well. On the sides of the stage, sharks can be seen in the water and will attack fighters if they get too close, along with Capin sometimes stopping by in his boat, which can serve as an additional platform. platform. Finally, in the background, it's possible to spot Tortimer, as well as Capin's family members Layla, Leilani, and Grams, who all work in the island's lobby. Then we have 5 music tracks, all of which are Smash 4 remixes, with a track that contains parts of the main theme, the 7 PM theme, and the Main Street theme, the songs Capin sings whilst transporting players to and from Tortimer Island, a track which contains the Island Tour theme, the Look What I Found jingle, and the Hide and Seek theme, a medley of tracks associated with Tortimer Island, featuring the lobby theme, the main island theme, and the Island Tour theme, Bubblegum KK, a KK Slider song which is influenced by bubblegum pop. After that, we have a Me Gunner costume based on Isabelle, with the gun being a party popper, which is likely a reference to the ones villagers used during the celebrations of public projects finishing construction. Finally, there's 5 spirits. Number 827, Isabelle, a fighter spirit. The spirit art is specifically Isabelle in the outfit she wears during the spring and summer months, which also serves as her default costume in Smash, with some of her alternate costumes being based on an alternate outfit she wears during autumn and winter. Number 831, DJ KK, a 3-slot advanced primary neutral spirit which can be enhanced at level 99, an alternate identity taken by KK Slider during his nighttime performances at Club LOL on days other than Saturday, where he'll perform remixes of his songs. Number 860, Cyrus and Reese, a 3-slot ace support spirit which lets you start the battle with an ore club. A couple of alpacas who run the recycling shop Retail. Reese allows the player to either put up or buy items on display, or directly sell them to her. Meanwhile, Cyrus will customize furniture for ore once the player has sold 100,000 bells worth of items and has 100 pieces of furniture and 50 pieces of clothing in their catalog. Number 861, Leaf, a 1-slot advanced support spirit with the effect Berry Immunity. A sloth who runs the gardening shop and hosts Weeding Day, with the shop opening once the player has performed 30 gardening actions and has been in town for at least 5 days, with it both expanding and merging with Timmy and Tommy's store once it's been upgraded to TIY. And number 862, Digby, a 3-slot advanced primary neutral spirit with the effect battering items power up. Isabelle's younger twin brother who works as the owner of the Happy Home Showcase, which lets you view the houses of people you meet via Street Pass, the game being able to store a maximum of 48 houses. Serving as the series' first spin-off game, Animal Crossing Happy Home Designer released for the 3DS in 2015, with the game seeing you work as an employee for Nook's Homes, the gameplay revolving around designing houses for villagers based on their tastes, with new furniture being unlocked as you progress through the game. Whilst the game got mixed reviews, it still managed to sell fairly well, becoming the 20th best-selling 3DS game at 3.51 million copies, with the interface for placing furniture later being incorporated into New Leaf as part of the Welcome Amiibo update, along with the game receiving a follow-up via the Happy Home Paradise expansion for Animal Crossing New Horizons. As this is a spin-off which reuses a lot of assets from New Leaf, only a little bit was taken from Happy Home Designer. To start off, we have 2 music tracks, with a new remix of the title screen music. And the house preview theme. addition, there's spirit number 863, Lottie, a 1-slot novice primary grab spirit, the receptionist of Nook's homes and Lyle's niece, who primarily serves to help guide the player through the process of designing a villager's house. The spirit artwork is taken from Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival, a spin-off party game for the Wii U, where Lottie is one of the game's playable characters. To end off our look at Animal Crossing, we have the most recent entry in the series with 2020's Animal Crossing New Horizons for the Nintendo Switch, which once again shook things up from previous entries by changing the setting from a small town to a deserted island, allowing for more opportunities to customize the surrounding area, along with incorporating more features such as the ability to build tools and furniture via the new DIY system, with the end goal of renovating the island into a resort for people to visit. New Horizons once again received critical praise, along with managing to sell 44.79 million copies, making it not only the best-selling game in the series, but the second best-selling Switch game, only being outperformed by Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, with the game receiving updates in order to integrate more holidays, new side activities, as well as a paid expansion which served as a sort of sequel to the previously discussed Happy Home Designer. As New Horizons released after Smash Ultimate, the only things taken are 4 spirits, which were added as part of a spirit board event to promote the game. Those being number 1407, Orville and Wilbur, a 1-slot ace support spirit with the effect undamaged attack and speed up, a pair of dodos who work at the airport, which allows you to visit other islands or have other players visit your island, Orville working behind the desk on ground level whilst Wilbur serves as the plane's pilot, number 1408, CJ, a 1-slot advanced support spirit with the effect item gravitation, a beaver who hosts the year-round fishing tournaments where people are tasked with catching as many fish as possible in 3 minutes, with CJ having taken over the role from his father Chip, who hosted the fishing tournaments in previous entries. Number 1409, Flick, a 2-slot advanced primary attack spirit with the effect Strong Throw, a chameleon who hosts the Bug Off, a bug catching tournament held once a month during the summer months, with Flick having similarly taken over the role from his father Nat. And number 1410, Daisy May, a 1-slot novice support spirit which lets you start the battle with Lips Stick, a boar who appears on players' islands every Sunday to sell turnips, taking on the role that Joan did in previous titles, who is Daisy May's grandmother. And that's everything from the Animal Crossing series, which ranks as the 9th most represented series in Ultimate, placing above Metroid but below Donkey Kong. Now let's start working our way through Pikmin. Originally starting life as a game where the player took the role of a god who would cultivate a human population based on their choices, along with taking some inspiration from a GameCube tech demo featuring 128 Marios walking around a 3D space, Pikmin is a real-time strategy game which was one of the GameCube's first titles, releasing in 2001 or 2002 depending on where you live. But the game having been created and produced by Shigeru Miyamoto, along with being directed by Shigefume Hino, the creator of the Yoshi series, as well as the character Yoshi, based on a sketch by Takashi Tezuka, and Masamichi Abe, who had previously worked on 1080 Degrees Snowboarding and the first 3 Tekken games. The game follows Captain Olimar, a space pilot from the planet Hakatate who, whilst on vacation, ends up hitting an asteroid causing him to crash land on a nearby planet, with 30 pieces of his ship, the SS Dolphin, often falling off on the way down, with the goal being to command an army of small plant-like creatures called Pikmin in order to fight enemies and take down obstacles, with the end goal of finding all the ship parts before Olimar's life support systems run out of power in 30 days, as the planet's atmosphere is toxic to him. Whilst Pikmin is often viewed as a fairly niche series when compared to some of the other big Nintendo franchises, the original game actually sold pretty well, likely thanks to it being one of the GameCube's first big titles, managing to sell 1.6 million copies, making it the platform's 16th best-selling title, with it eventually seeing re-releases on both the Wii as part of the new Play Control series in 2008 in Japan and 2009 internationally, as well as the Nintendo Switch in 2023. The main changes being the addition of widescreen and the ability to use motion controls to make aiming when throwing Pikmin easier. Since the series established a lot of its identity in the first entry, along with it also standing as the best-selling entry in the series until 2020, there's a good amount of content from Pikmin 1. First we have fighter number 40, Olimar, the main protagonist of the first two games, who in Smash primarily fights alongside the 5 main types of Pikmin from Pikmin 2, with his appearance being based on a slight redesign from Pikmin 3. In addition, half of his alternate colours swap Olimar out for Alf, one of the playable captains from Pikmin 3. Next is the stage Distant Planet, which isn't based on any specific location in the Pikmin games, though its aesthetics seem to be primarily based on a mix of the Forest of Hope from Pikmin 1 and the Awakening Wood from Pikmin 2, with the layout consisting of a slope on the left, plus a vine and 3 leaf platforms, which are each affected by the weight on top of them, with a red Bulborb periodically showing up on the right side of the stage, which will instantly KO fighters by eating them if they land in its mouth or stand on its back for too long. During the fight, Pikmin onions and pellet posies can appear on the leaves, with it being possible to get items from the onions by attacking the posies to get their pellet, and then throwing the pellet at the onion, with more items being given out based on the pellet having a higher number and being the same colour as the onion it was thrown at, matching how the pellets work to create more Pikmin in the game. Occasionally it will start raining, causing a rush of water to push fighters standing on the left slope for a period of time. Finally, in the background, it's possible to see various environmental plants from the games, another red Bulborb, a group of cloaking Burrownits, and a soda can with the Smash logo on it. Then we have 5 music tracks, with 2 versions of the main theme, which plays on the title screen, with both the original song and a new remix. The theme for the second area, the Forest of Hope, a Brawl remix which combines the End of Day theme and the title screen music, and a Brawl original track, which is based on various environmental noises you can hear in the Pikmin games. After that, we have an assist trophy with a burrowing Snagret, a recurring boss in the series which has the appearance of a bird's head on a snake's body. When summoned, the Snagret will attack enemies by burrowing into the ground, popping out, and then wildly peck at them, behaving similarly to its attack pattern in the Pikmin games, with its appearance being based on its slight redesign from Pikmin 3. Finally, we have 11 spirits. Number 798, Olimar, a fighter spirit. The artwork is taken from Hey Pikmin, which follows Olimar needing to use the Pikmin in order to gather enough Sparklium to repair the SS Dolphin 2, after getting caught in an asteroid shower and crashing on a planet similar to the Pikmin planet from the first 3 games. Number 803, Red Pikmin, a 1-slot advanced support spirit with the effect Lava Floor Resist. The first Pikmin type Olimar discovers, finding them not too far from where he landed in the impact site. Red Pikmin deal more damage in combat thanks to their sharp noses, and also possess an immunity to fire hazards. The artwork is taken from Pikmin 3, where they similarly are the first Pikmin type found by Alf when he crash lands in tropical wilds. Number 804, Blue Pikmin, a 1-slot advanced support spirit with the effect Thrown Items Up. The third and final type of Pikmin Olimar finds, encountering them in the Forest Navel. Thanks to their gills, Blue Pikmin possess the ability to breathe in water, with them also being able to save Pikmin that are drowning. The artwork is from Hey Pikmin, where they can freely swim around in bodies of water, as opposed to previous entries where they always sink to the bottom. Number 805, Yellow Pikmin, a 2-slot advanced support spirit with the effect Energy Shot Attack / Resistance Up. The second Pikmin type that Olimar ends up discovering in the Forest of Hope. Yellow Pikmin can be thrown higher thanks to their large ears, and are the only type that can carry bomb rocks, though in later titles their ability to use explosives was swapped out for an immunity to electricity hazards. The artwork is from Pikmin 3, which expanded their electric immunity to also being able to conduct electric circuits, along with adding the trait of having one of the fastest digging speeds, with them being found by both Charlie and Brittany in the distant tundra. Number 810, Bulborb, a 2-slot advanced primary shield spirit which can be enhanced at level 99. A common enemy from the series which often serves as the player's first encounter with larger monsters, appearing in the Forest of Hope in the original game, but their behaviour consisting of sleeping in place, with them waking up to try and eat Pikmin if they get too close or attack it whilst it's sleeping. The artwork is from Pikmin 3, where they serve a similar purpose, being found in tropical wilds and the Garden of Hope. Number 812, Emperor Bulblax, a 2-slot ace support spirit with the effect Ice Floor Immunity, a variation of Bulborb which served as Pikmin 1's final boss, being the only enemy that appears in the final trial, the method of defeating it being to stun it by tricking it into eating bomb rocks and then throwing Pikmin onto its face. The artwork is from Pikmin 2, where it's been scaled down from its original size and made a regular boss, appearing in the caves Bulblax Kingdom, Cavern of Chaos, and Hole of Heroes. Number 813, Burrowing Snagret, a 2-slot ace primary attack spirit with the effect Speed Down. In the original game, 3 Burrowing Snagrets can be found in the Forest of Hope, with one of them being required to defeat in order to get the SS Dolphin's Geiger counter, the only way to deal significant damage being to attack its head. Number 815, Fiery Blowhog, a 1-slot novice primary attack spirit with the effect Fire Attack Up. Mammal-like creatures which appear on the forest navel that attack by shooting fire from their snout, making the obvious solution to take them out being to swarm them with red Pikmin. The art is from Pikmin 3, where they appear in every area except Twilight River. Number 816, Smoky Prog, a 1-slot novice support spirit which lets you start the battle with a Unira, an optional boss which can be fought by destroying its egg in the distant spring during day 15 or earlier, with it chasing after Olimar and its Pikmin, with its trail of a poisonous element called Gloom being able to instantly kill a Pikmin on contact, with the reward for killing it being a Golden Pearl, which rewards 100 Pikmin if taken to an onion. Number 817, Swooping Snitchbug, a 1-slot novice support spirit with the effect Landing Lag Down, a flying bug-like enemy which appears on the distant spring starting from day 5 and the Forest of Hope starting from day 15. Unlike most enemies, they don't directly harm Pikmin, instead swooping down to grab one or two of them before forcibly replanting them in the ground. And number 819, Yellow Wollyhop, a 1-slot advanced support spirit with the effect Strong Wind Resist, a frog-like enemy from the distant spring which can be found near bodies of water, with them attacking by jumping into the air before slamming back down to try and crush nearby Pikmin. The artwork is taken from Pikmin 3, where it appears in Tropical Wilds, the Garden of Hope, and Twilight River. Releasing in 2004, also on the GameCube, Pikmin 2 immediately follows up the first game, as when Olimar returns home, he finds out that the company he works for, Hockatate Freight, is massively in debt after losing a shipment of golden Pikpik carrots, and even after selling off the SS Dolphin, the company still owes 10,100 Pokos. But when it's discovered that an object Olimar brought back from the Pikmin planet is worth 100 Pokos, he's immediately sent back alongside his co-worker Louie in order to find enough treasure to pay off the company's debt. The main changes to the gameplay, other than the goal being to collect treasure instead of ship parts, was the ability to switch between controlling 2 captains in order to more easily multitask, the removal of the day limit, effectively giving players as much time as they need to pay off the debt, and the addition of the caves, randomly generated dungeons that contain large collections of treasures. Pikmin 2 is a fairly divisive entry in the series, often being viewed as either one of the best or worst games in the series, depending on who you ask, with it managing to sell 1.12 million copies, making it the GameCube's 32nd best-selling title, which is a fairly noticeable drop from the first game's sales, though this could be due to the GameCube's waning popularity towards the end of its life cycle. Just like the first game, Pikmin 2 would get re-released on the Wii in 2009, in all regions except America, where it didn't release until 2012, as well as a Switch port, which released the exact same day as Pikmin 1's Switch release in 2023, with it receiving similar fixes to the first game's re-releases. As Pikmin 2 has some of the most mixed reactions in the series, there's not as much from this entry when compared to the other mainline games. To begin, we have 2 music tracks, with 2 versions of the world map theme, both of which also incorporate parts of Pikmin 1's world map theme, with a Brawl remix, and a Smash 4 remix. After that, we have the item Hocketate Bomb, a bomb item modelled after the Hocketate freight ship used by Olimar and Louie to explore the Pikmin planet and recover treasure. When thrown, the ship will fly upwards, carrying fighters directly above off screen before eventually crashing back down to Earth, knocking fighters downward on its trajectory before exploding when it hits the stage. In addition, there's 5 spirits. Number 800, Louie, a 3-slot ace primary grab spirit, Olimar's co-worker who serves as the second playable captain. Though when the two manage to collect enough treasure to pay off the debt, Olimar ends up accidentally leaving him behind on the Pikmin planet, needing to return with Hocketate Freight's president in order to find him along with any other remaining treasures. Number 806, White Pikmin, a 1-slot advanced support spirit with the effect poison damage reduced. One of the 2 new Pikmin types, which unlike the returning red, yellow and blue Pikmin, can only be obtained by throwing other Pikmin into ivory candy pop buds. White Pikmin have the fastest movement speed, are both immune to poison and poisonous, and can find treasures that are completely buried underground. The spirit artwork is from Pikmin 3, where they only appear in the game's mission mode, along with their abilities having been simplified, only keeping their high speed and ability to poison enemies when eaten, along with a new downside of dealing less damage in combat. Number 807, Purple Pikmin, a 1-slot advanced primary shield spirit with the effect Wait Up, the other new type of Pikmin which similarly can only be found by throwing other Pikmin into violet candy pop buds. Purple Pikmin are the strongest type of Pikmin, dealing double the damage and having the carrying strength of 10 regular Pikmin, along with having the weight of 10 regular Pikmin, giving them access to a ground pound which can stun enemies, along with making it so they can't be pushed around by wind, at the cost of being the slowest Pikmin type and having a lower throwing arc. Like White Pikmin, their artwork is taken from Pikmin 3, where they similarly only appear in the mission mode and had their abilities simplified to only keep their carrying strength and slow speed. Number 811, Empress Bulblax, a 2-slot legend primary shield spirit with the effect stats double up after eating. A large female Bulborb which appears as a boss in 3 of the caves, her primary method of attack being to shake off Pikmin attacking her before rolling from one side of the arena to the other in an attempt to crush them, with later fights having her spawn in Bulborb lava to eat the Pikmin. Number 818, Iridescent Glint Beetle, a 2-slot advanced support spirit with the effect Sticky Floor Immunity, a rarer golden variation of the iridescent Flint Beetle, both of which give rewards for throwing Pikmin directly on top of them. Glint Beetles give either 3 randomly coloured 5 pellets or 3 doses of nectar on the first hit and 2 doses of ultra spicy spray on the following hit, with some in dungeons dropping treasures instead. Not counting the Wii re-releases of the first 2 games, Pikmin wouldn't receive a new entry until almost a decade later, with Pikmin 3 releasing for the Wii U in 2013, which follows 3 explorers from the planet Kopai being sent to the Pikmin planet, now officially named PNF 404, with the goal of recovering seeds from the planet's fruit in order to solve Kopai's hunger crisis. But their ship, the SS Drake, ends up suffering a failure during during landing, resulting in the team getting split up and losing the ship's cosmic drive key, which is needed to get back home, with them needing to use the Pikmin's help in order to reunite with each other, gather enough seeds to save their planet, and find the key before their own food supply runs out. In addition to increasing the number of playable captains from 2 to 3, Pikmin 3 also added the ability to throw captains for additional puzzles, along with being able to use the Wii U gamepad to have captains automatically walk to a certain point, allowing for easier multitasking, with a day limit having been reworked again to now be based on how much fruit has been recovered, as each one provides a set amount of juice, with one bottle equating to 1 extra day, maxing out at 99 days if every fruit is collected. Pikmin 3 would end up becoming one of the Wii U's bigger titles during the console's early years, managing to sell 1.28 million copies, in turn making it the system's 16th best-selling game, with it later receiving a re-release on the Switch under the name Pikmin 3 Deluxe in 2020, which in addition to coming with all the paid DLC for the game's mission mode, also added an optional prologue and epilogue where you play as Olimar, along with this being the first entry in the series to feature selectable difficulties and multiplayer for the main story. Pikmin 3 Deluxe would end up breaking sales records for the series, managing to sell 2.4 million copies, making it the 51st best-selling Switch title, with it being speculated that its success is what likely spurred the release of both the Switch ports of Pikmin 1 and 2, as well as Pikmin 4 just 3 years later. As this was the most recent mainline entry at the time of both Smash 4 and Ultimate's release, there's a decent amount of content from Pikmin 3. To start, we have the stage Garden of Hope, which, not counting the brief tutorial section in the distant tundra, is the second area of the game, but the stage specifically being based on the region where blue Pikmin are discovered. The only major changes from how it looks in Pikmin 3 being the addition of a waterfall that was added near where the fighters are, the bug-eyed Crawmad that can be fought in the area has been removed, and the constructible bridges and upside-down teapots which the Pikmin build have been moved to be interactable objects for fighters, with them, alongside a large climbing stick, being able to be broken by attacking them before later being rebuilt by some Pikmin. In addition to some background cameos from both a red Bulborb and the SS Drake, occasionally a peckish Aristocrab will walk through the stage, damaging fighters on contact and being able to destroy objects built by the Pikmin, with its arrival being signalled by bubbles on either side of the stage. Finally, on both ends are lifts which will go up or down depending on which side has more weighted objects or fighters on them, similar to how they work in the game depending on which side has more Pikmin and captains. Next is 3 music tracks, with 2 versions of the theme for the Garden of Hope, with the afternoon version of the original song, and a new remix which also includes the theme for the Bingo Battle nature maps. As well as a Smash 4 remix of the Mission Mode theme. end off their 7 spirits. Number 799, Alf, a fighter spirit. The team's engineer who landed in tropical wilds near some red Pikmin, with him using the creatures to help reach the SS Drake before setting off to find the other crew members and the ship's cosmic drive key. Number 801, Charlie, a master spirit who can go on 6-hour explorations where the main reward is support items. The team's captain who ends up in the distant tundra by some yellow Pikmin, with the team eventually finding him after he was eaten by the behemoth Fozbat. Number 802, Brittany, a 2-slot ace support spirit with the effect Gravity Change Immunity. A botanist who is brought on to catalogue the fruit that the crew finds and rationing out the juice, who ends up getting trapped in the Garden of Hope after being saved by Alf with the assistance of rock Pikmin. Number 808, Winged Pikmin, a 1-slot novice support spirit with the effect Floaty Jumps. One of the new types of Pikmin which is found in the Twilight River. Due to their smaller bodies, winged Pikmin do less damage in combat, however, they're able to fly over most hazards, can pluck fluke weeds, and have an easier time fighting flying enemies. Number 809, Rock Pikmin, a 1-slot novice primary grab spirit with the effect Wait Up. The other new type of Pikmin which Alf finds in the Garden of Hope. Thanks to their hard bodies, rock Pikmin can break crystal objects, deal extra damage when thrown directly onto an enemy, and are immune to being crushed and stabbed, at the cost of not being able to latch onto enemies, instead bouncing off them before rolling back. Number 814, Plasm Wraith, a 3-slot ace primary neutral spirit with the effect Speed Down. The game's final boss, which the crew ends up fighting in the formidable Oak in order to get the cosmic drive key, which possesses the ability to shapeshift and split off parts of its body to create environmental hazards and replicants of regular enemies. And number 820, Peckish Aristocrab, a 2-slot advanced primary shield spirit with the effect Electric Weakness. A large crab-like enemy which will attempt to either swat away or grab Pikmin using its large claw, along with being able to spew out bubbles which can dispel Pikmin and captains, with it being possible to destroy the claw by throwing rock Pikmin at it. To end off our look at the series, we have Pikmin's first attempt at a spin-off with 2017's Hey Pikmin for the 3DS, which was developed by Arzest, the same studio responsible for titles such as Yoshi's New Island and Sonic Superstars. The game itself effectively being an attempt to reimagine Pikmin as a 2.5D puzzle platformer, which has Olimar explore through various levels, using Pikmin found within each level in order to fight enemies, get past obstacles, and recover treasures in order to convert them into Sparklium to repair the SS Dolphin 2. Hey Pikmin received mixed reviews, mainly criticizing its simplistic puzzles and a general lack of the strategy elements that people liked about the series, with it having been estimated to have sold around 440,000 copies, though the exact number is unknown, with its underperformance compared to previous entries likely being due to a mix of both the game's mediocre reception and it releasing just 4 months after the Switch launched. Because of that, there's not much taken from Hey Pikmin. First, we have 4 music tracks. The Keeper of the Lake, the theme for Sector 2's boss, the Long Water Dumple. Flashes of Fear, the theme for Sector 4's boss, the Electric Cottonade. Pine Tree Mountains, the theme for Sector 7 Area C. And Fragment of Hope, which plays during the third phase of the final boss fight against the Berserk Leech Hydro. Top of that is spirit number 821, Mokiwi, a 2-slot novice primary shield spirit, a common enemy that appears throughout the game, often patrolling certain areas by walking back and forth, with the recommended method of defeating them being to attack from behind. And with that, we finished our look through of Pikmin, which ranks as the 22nd most represented series in Smash, placing ahead of Metal Gear but behind Yoshi. Based on the poll results, the next volume of Smash Archive will be an overview of all the series to come from SNK, with volume 21 being an overview of all the minor series to come from the 3DS and Wii U, and once this video goes up, a poll will be released to vote for the topic of volume 22 between Konami and Microsoft. Until then, feel free to subscribe to the channel if you want to keep up with what's being posted, and also I just want to say the recent success of the Yakuza 3 video has been insane, and I want to thank you guys for the support on that video and the channel. Until next time, thanks for watching.